Do you believe in luck?
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mentality. It's your boy Gambo. As always, I'm here with Simmons. This is part 2 of the rat race. Today we're discussing the element of luck within the rat race. Is there such thing as an element of luck? Stay tuned as we chop it up in an interesting episode.
Do you believe in luck?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a very lucky guy. I think I'm a very lucky person. When I look at there's always going to be the element of luck, but hard work is inevitably going to be a part of the formula, like I said. Absolutely, there is such thing as luck, and people get lucky. I am lucky to be where I'm at because when I look around the world, there are people who are starving, people who are in less, privileged environments, and just man, I live in the United States of America in New Jersey. Like for somebody that probably sucks, but I'm blessed. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like my background, I probably should have made it where I come from, where my family come from. I shouldn't be where I'm at right now. I shouldn't. So I'm a lucky guy, but I'm not saying that doesn't mean that I didn't work hard or people who came before me didn't work hard. They had to work hard and also get that element of luck. So I absolutely do believe in luck, but I just feel like as far as success is concerned, is also a part of the formula. Do you believe in luck?
No.
Why not?
I believe everybody makes their own luck.
What do you mean by that?
Because I think that every opportunity you have to progress yourself, to move forward, it's built around all the previous effort that you've done, that you've made. And I'm not talking about like where you're born. You have no control over that, or who you're born into.
That's luck, though.
I say it's chance. I wouldn't call it luck.
Yeah, chance is luck. If you look, chance is literally the probability. Speaking in mathematical terms of luck, that's what chance is. So I absolutely do believe in luck. It's like saying that people, when you look at people and their outcome, you want to judge them on the same scale. I don't agree with that because people start the race from different points, and that's a factor of luck. And I admit that I'm a very lucky guy. Not as lucky as some, but definitely luckier than most. And I grew up poor as hell, but I also grew up in the United States of America. So yeah, I'm lucky as fuck.
I'm hearing everything you're saying. I'm listening to everything you're saying. I too, I don't know if y'all know this, I was also born in the United States of America. Lived in one of the most famous states on the planet.
New York motherfucking city. So
One of the most densely populated, biggest cities in the world.
one of the most opportune states in the world. So was I.
I had two parents throughout my whole childhood. Shit, we even had two cars.
Nigga. I had two cars?
My mom had a car, my dad had a car.
Shit.
Ain't sharing shit. Selfish. But I wouldn't say for every point in my life where I was behind, and I say behind based on the assessment of my peers, people my age, people with similar upbringings, people with worse and better upbringings. I wouldn't attribute that to I wouldn't really attribute that to luck really. I would attribute it to my own efforts. I had plenty of opportunities to be way more professionally farther, financially farther in my life that ended up not I ended up not taking them because I didn't have the I wasn't ready to take them. I didn't put forth the effort to take them. I didn't put forth as much effort as people who ended up taking them. I had a lot of friends from India when I was in college. Like they might be first generation, second generation. The families back home in India, they're fucking well, some of them were rich as fuck, don't get me wrong. Some of them weren't though. Some of them weren't. They couldn't afford to do half the shit that I was doing, and I was already a broke ass college student. I had a lot of friends grew up in shitty towns, shitty upbringings. Parents beat the shit out of them. They didn't have nearly as many tools as I had, but they made it happen. You could say statistically that they were very unlucky, and yet here they are. surpassing me in every way, shape, and form. So that's why I don't believe in luck, because I've seen people with less do more, and they are able to do more because they put in the effort to get more. They put themselves in the right place at the right time. They're consistently in the right place in the right time, ready to perform, ready to go. And that's what I tell myself now. That's what I live by now is every good thing that I get is not because of luck. It's a probability. It's an inevitability because I put myself in a position to succeed. I put myself in front of the right people, and when I'm in front of those people, I do everything that I'm supposed to do. If that makes any clarification to my cynicism on an idea of luck.
No, I definitely hear you, and I understand where you're coming from because I definitely feel the same way. But I think the disconnect here seems to be that we're looking at luck as the outcome, and that's not what I'm referring to. When we talk about luck, I'm looking at luck as it's a recipe in the formula. And luck, don't get me wrong, I'm not undermining hard work. I'm not saying hard work does not is not a part of the formula. I'm saying there's a lot of different things that comes for you to be able to make that formula. Luck being a part of it, hard work being a part of it. Let me give an example. So, for example, you explain, being more privileged than some of the other peers of that you grew up with who are Indian, right? Who might have been first or second generation born Americans who were you typically less stable and had a less stable environment than you had, right? That element of you being more privileged than they were is what I'm referring to as luck. Now, the outcome that you might have felt like they probably surpassed you in certain aspects is what I'm going to call hard work. You're right. You have to place yourself in certain environments, in certain positions for things to become inevitable. I absolutely agree with that. And so when we look at that, element of luck is not something that you can control. You didn't control what environment or background that you're going to be brought into as the day. They did not control that. But that's where you are lucky. Like another example would be myself. I grew up dirt poor. I grew up in the projects. My family even had it worse. But when I look back at it, even in the projects, like we wouldn't even know that we were poor because everyone else around us was like that, right? So in that specific circumstance, I guess I could say, compared to some of my other friends, I was blessed and I was luckier. Compared to some of my other friends, I wasn't. But in the grand scheme of things, when I step outside and I look around, a bigger, service area, I'm like, okay, boom. A lot of people are not from the projects. A lot of people live in white picket fences, and they have two parents and two cars, or they have something else that might financially make them luckier than I am. Financially, that doesn't mean that they don't also have their own problems and their own set of hardships, but that's a form of luck that neither one of us were able to control. Now, does that mean that they're destined to be better than I am? No. It's like we're just starting a race. Put it this way: you're starting a race. You got Usain Bolt and you got me, right? Usain Bolt is a lot faster than I am. I'm not going to be able to beat Usain Bolt if we're starting. If like you can't say that me and Usain Bolt are matched because we're not. But if I was to be able to give him a head start ahead of Usain Bolt, I'll beat him. Like if the head start was farther enough, I'll be able to beat Usain Bolt. And so I think the thing is that it's not about the original position. It's just that you're gonna have to work a lot harder than everybody else. So hard work. Say if you have 10% luck, I'm just making this up. There's no statistical backing or evidence from what I'm saying, but just for the sake of example, if I were to have 10% luck and someone who was to have, say, 30% luck, in order for me to match that person's success, I would have to up other aspects of the formula for me to be able to be more outcome have a better outcome than they are. They're gonna have. So if they have 20% or 30% luck, I have 10% luck, then I need to up my hard work. I need to up my agreeableness. I need to up my likability and other factors that are gonna make me be more successful in an outcome based situation. I hope that I don't know if that clarifies what I'm trying to say.
The biggest clarity was that we look at luck in different ways for sure. I look at see to me, if I gotta race Usain Bolt, like some people have to race Usain Bolt, or even with the rat race, some people have to. Their maze is just two parallel walls in a straight line to the cheese,
Right,
and
which
some
is
people have
luck
to make
to me.
50 million turns
Hmm.
in the maze to eventually get the cheese.
Let me interject. Do you think that's fair?
I mean, I don't give a shit if it's fair. Like
No, no,
it's
no.
not
I
fair, but
understand,
like
but I'm saying, do you think
it's
it's fair?
it's definitely not fair, but
Exactly.
it ain't nothing I can do about it.
Exactly. So you either have to uptick your productivity in hard work or other aspects that's going to make the outcome similar. But if we were to
And this is where
look at it,
okay.
it's technically not fair and it's technically luck on one's end. And that's just a fact. It's that doesn't mean that that stops you. That doesn't mean that you become lazy. Oh no, I'm not lucky. No, hell no. You work harder. That's all you have to do. But it's a fact that some people have it better than others originally.
And also with that, because you have to make more turns, you become more developed. I would say, and someone who just has the straight line, you become a more well-rounded person. But also,
Hmm.
that gives you an opportunity to figure out how to start breaking down walls. So once you can break down the wall, you can just make your own straight line. And through breaking down those walls is how you escape the rat race. Oh shit, full circle. Boom.
But I said this was
Nah.
a crazy tangent. We're going to have to edit the fuck out of this shit. This should have been a whole
nah,
episode.
but everyone's everyone's kind of got to go through it. Everyone has their own maze to navigate.
Absolutely.
And whether you want to take your time and hit every turn, every corner to eventually get your cheese, or say fuck cheese, just stay where I'm at, or if you want to break walls, or learn how to go over the maze, around the maze, through the maze, or find out how to get cheese delivered right to your spot. I definitely see where you're coming from. I use the term ironically, like super ironically, because I'm not religious, but I use the term blessed to describe how you describe luck. You might use it interchangeably yourself, I don't know, but
Hmm.
fucking just because I don't have as much as someone else or because I have more than someone else. And I mean this in strictly, and I'm excluding populations who are unable to care for themselves. I know I'm ableist, whatever. Those who have the ability to and don't, they're not unlucky. They just haven't made their own luck yet.
I agree with that. I don't want to keep dragging this, but I feel like the fact that they had the ability to do and they didn't is still a form of luck that they just didn't act on. I feel like we're always going to be cyclical about this because I definitely see where you're coming from. I think you're looking at it from an outcome based perspective, and I'm looking at it from a stardom based perspective. You're saying, well, someone who wasn't as lucky as you was able to be better than you, and I'm saying, well, hey, you still had a greater starting point. Your potential energy from the beginning was a lot higher than someone else's. They just put in more work than you did.
And my disagreement falls there because if I if I attribute anything that I get to luck, then I would attribute anything that I don't get to being unlucky.
Wait, that no
And
one's.
that
I think that's also another disconnect because I'm not attributing what you get based on luck. I'm
no,
just,
I'm not saying you attribute everything based on luck. I'm saying that for there to be luck, there would have to be unluck.
of
You're
course, and there
unlucky
is just not
somewhere.
fair. Like the
But
walls example.
but with that, I don't want any like I and this is just me. Maybe it's from my bubble of ignorance, but I don't want me not getting the cheese to be placed on anyone or anything other than myself.
Of course, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But that's the point where you realize your environment. You have to be honest with yourself and your environment to say how much work do I have to put in to be able to get the cheese. That's what I'm saying. You can't sit there cry boo-hoo and say I'm unlucky, therefore that's why I was not able to do XYZ. That's just weak. That's meek. I don't respect
Right.
that at all. I believe in being self-made. However, I'm also a very cynical and realistic person that I can look in my environment and say, these are the cards that I'm dealt with. How do I win the game? How do I navigate through the environment that I've been placed in? I don't sit there and cry and say, "Oh, I can't do it," because that's defeat. That's self defeat, and that's you already lost. But there's a fact of a factor of luck that I just it's undeniable for me because I guess I'm just really cynical of my surroundings. That I'm like, okay,
And I think that's exactly why I think people make their own luck.
well, you can make your own luck, but there's also certain there's a certain things that you have no control over. That's just pure luck that you can't make. You can make your own luck by working hard. I think that's what I'm calling hard work, and you're calling it luck. But I'm calling that hard work. I can work hard to place myself in certain positions. Take me for example, or take us for example, right? I should not be where I'm at if I was gonna sit there. If I was gonna sit there and just be comfortable and say, "Oh, I'm gonna do what everyone else around me was gonna do," because I'd probably be dead by now, or I'd probably be in jail, or I probably would not have made it out, right? So you can't sit there and be comfortable and complacent and cry about that. You have to make your own luck, or as you call it, but I call it working hard, or adding other recipes to the formula to be able to surpass or outgrow your environment to have a greater output. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the way I see it. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. You are a very hardworking person, and everything that you do is based on your actions, which they are. But it's undeniable that from the genesis, there are things that you cannot control about you. You didn't choose to be black. You didn't choose to have the eyes that you have. You didn't choose to be the height that you are. You didn't choose to be the weight and size that you are. You didn't choose a lot of different things about yourself. But guess what? That's what you got. And guess what? Do the best with that. But to deny that, to me, is almost like I just can't say I can't deny that. I just can't deny that I was dealt with these things. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I can't, goddamn it. Fuck all that. I don't give a sh. Ooh, it's just to even like I don't know. Like to me,
You
like
don't
it's
want to
just
fathom it. I get it.
I can't fathom anything like if I lose both my legs, that's not bad luck. It just is what it is. And for me personally, it's just I every shitty thing that's ever happened to me that I've ever done that I have to had gone through is not bad luck. It is what it is. But to I'm not gonna deny that like I've had to go through shitty things and I've had to have because I'm hard headed, so like I have to learn through through loss, through heartache, through headache, and fucking that's my best way of learning because I have to fucking get it drilled in my head a certain way. But to me, saying I'm lucky that saying that I'm lucky takes away, it diminishes my own effort. It's like I've heard someone say I'm lucky that I have abs or some shit like that. To just totally take away all the hours I've put into taking care of myself. Totally, it diminishes from everything that I've gotten. I don't give a shit where I started from. I am black. I am fucking in a predominantly white environment. I don't have the same upbringing as these people. I didn't touch a gun until just before I was about to join the military. These people grew up with guns. They're fucking amazing with them. Like, they're not lucky that they grew up with guns. It just is what it is. To me, luck diminishes the act of the effort, the aspect of the effort. And it also implies that bad luck is a thing. That's why I think that we quote unquote make our own luck, which isn't really luck. It's just putting yourself in a place to be recognized, to have your abilities recognized. Now, why we have that mindset, that could be luck. It was a fucking genetic gamble. You know what I'm saying? You got a certain amount of TA pairs and other DNA pairs that you did to make you you. But even then, it's just it is what it is, and that's my convoluted response to his luck. His luck fucking exists. To me,
Right.
I'm sticking with my guns. I don't think luck exists.
No, that's fair. I mean, look, I absolutely agree with you on a lot of aspects. I think you and I are similar in the sense that we feel like responsibility and ownership and things of that are righteous things that you should have, and you should blame all your shortcomings and your all your successes on your actions. I absolutely agree with you with that. But when it comes to like whether or not you have a better disposition in certain aspects, I absolutely disagree with you because I think you can choose not to see it or you can choose to call it it is what it is, and I definitely do that myself. But if I'm to speak looking at the world realistically, I really can't agree with that narrative. Maybe if it comes to myself, I'm definitely the same way. I think the same way. But if I'm speaking, like it's hard for me to like tell somebody who is like in a third world country where they don't even have clean drinking water to tell them, well, shit, nigga, you gotta just, you gotta do better. Like, I don't know.
Well,
It's
that's the
tough for
thing.
me to tell
Do
somebody
you
that.
think people? Do you think people in a third world country see themselves as unlucky?
I think they might not call themselves unlucky because they technically tend to be happier. But in terms of like, if we're to look at actual empirical data, then yes, they would be unlucky in a lot of aspects, and not everybody, just poor people. But that could be anywhere. But then absolutely, and that luck might have not stemmed from them. It might have stemmed from their forefathers, but it still is an element that's there that's unshakable. You can't deny that. It's hard for me to grow up where like I have electricity and running water and monetary displacement, like where I have so much at my disposal and not be able to see the difference between someone and I's ability to be able to reach the same endpoint and be able to have the same financial or like outcome. It's really tough for me. Like I can say that to myself. I can say, okay, like hey Isaac, you fucking worked. You like for example the abs example that you gave. Like yeah, I worked really hard for my abs, but I can't deny that there's some form of genetics that played into it. Like I have great genetics. I can't deny that. That doesn't mean I didn't work hard. I can't look at somebody who's like, working really hard all the time and they don't have nearly what I would perceive to be nice in my opinion, nicer abs in my opinion, to say, oh, I mean, shit, like fuck you, you're just not working as hard as me. I can't do that because I can do that for myself and choose not to see it intrinsically, but doing it outwardly, I can't do that. There's an element that's like factually, I can't deny that. You can choose not to see it, or you can choose to call it is what it is, but that's just a mindset. That's what that is. It's a mental
I'm
block we
getting
put
it.
on ourselves.
I'm starting to understand where you're coming from. I'm really starting to understand it. Like, no matter how hard I try, no matter how many hours I put into the gym, I will not succeed in the NBA. Just because I'm not fucking tall enough. It's just that's it. Like
Yeah, that's
the
that's an
height plays a
unlucky trait.
factor in it.
It's like don't get me wrong. You can. There's people who are short who made it in the NBA, but I'm sure there are a couple with skill. There are a couple with hard work and a lot of other things that made them suitable to even be able to be in that environment. But there are certain things, like you said exactly, like you could call it unlucky, you could call it whatever you want to call it, but it is a factual thing that made you. It was a factual thing that was a barrier to entry for you to in a certain position, if that makes sense. And you can't deny that. You just have to call it is what it is. Maybe I don't have to
Okay,
be an NBA
okay.
as a player, but I could probably be a coach. You just have to deal with the cards you're given with. But you can't deny the fact that your cards might have been a shit of your hand to somebody else. You don't complain about it. I mean, sure you can, but it's not gonna solve anything. But like, I think the point of view where you're coming from, and I definitely do that to myself too, is either two things, right? either one, I think, is like someone like me. I put a mental block on myself because, like you said, I never want to attribute any like shortcoming or any like mishap or me not able being able to attain a certain level of success to like, oh, the world is just so bad and things are not fair. I would attribute that to my own hard work and me not putting enough effort. Right? I'll blame myself for it, and that's a mental block that we put on ourselves and not see. Like it's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Is what I'm trying to say. And there's also a flip side where I think people who are super privileged would just never see that perspective. Like say for example, if I was a super privileged person and I don't know, I go to like South America, or I go to Africa or Asia, it's just like some developing country where I might not see eye to eye as them, and I'm like, well, shit, you could just fucking work harder, you'll be alright. But they're looking at me like, well, motherfucker, like I work hard, I work twice as hard as you, but it's because of where you started from. So I think it's two things. It's either the mental block we put on ourselves, or coming from a position of being so privileged that we're so blind to like what others go through.
Damn, you just changed my whole opinion.
Really, I didn't
Nah,
think we were
not
gonna
not
see eye to eye on
entirely.
this.
Nah, but I'm finally starting to see where you're coming from, and it's starting to make sense to me. Look at what's her name? Kylie Jenner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You can ask a million people. You'll probably get a million of the exact same response. She's lucky as fuck. Started out with an Olympian father and a famous as fuck family in general.
Mm-hmm.
She could have just like, hey, I'll get my trust fund. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
paying my bills.
And fucked it all up.
I go out and just do whatever. So how is she the only billionaire in her family? Because she played the cards that she was dealt with
Better than anyone
intelligently.
else.
She played better than everybody else. Like all the people, like no one in the family worked harder than now Caitlyn Jenner. Like no one
Right.
in that family has ever put forth as many man hours, put as much blood, sweat, and tears as Caitlyn Jenner has.
At least from the outside
Yet,
looking in.
at least from the outside, but she's not a billionaire, even though she's worked harder than her entire family. So yes, effort will not equate results.
Yes.
I get, yeah.
It's a part of it. It's not the formula, like
It's
I
a
said
big,
earlier.
big
Big part of
part
it.
of it, but it
Huge
is
part
not.
of it.
It's not the entire thing.
Exactly. Like, cause even if you look at Caitlyn Jenner, it's a good example. But if you look at her, like she was able to build and capitalize off of like years and generations of her looking at her sisters and stuff like that. And her father, like you said, he was well known. He was an athlete. Got a lawyer in the family. Kim Kardashian had a platform. Her sisters had a platform. So for her to be able to see how they got to that platform, she was able also to navigate a little bit better. That's why we always look for progress, and that kind of ties into the rat race where we don't want our kids to regress. We want them to progress, not doing the exact same things that we've done, because they can get smarter and hopefully like work harder or just as hard, but also be smarter so their outcome is a lot higher. They have a better output. That's what the name of the game is. You know, we want our potential. We want our kids to have a higher potential than we did, because that will in turn give them a higher luck, and hope that they're also able to put in just as much work, if not a lot harder than we did, for a higher output. That's what we strive for. You feel me?
I'm picking up what you're putting down, man.
Word.
So for me, I guess that'd probably be the best explanation as to why I'm still in the rat race.
Mm.
Until I find a more efficient way, a more effective way to go about creating that new platform for my future offspring. This is this is
Oh,
the
you know.
best.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best option I got right now. So I will do my damnedest in everything that I do to ensure that my kids' maze becomes a few less turns than I had to make, until eventually they can just have that parallel to the cheese.
And yeah, man, I guess to kind of get some key takeaway points from this is, when it comes to the rat race, man, look, you have to do whatever you feel like is the best for you. Um, make sure that you're working hard, not because of the clout, but because you see an opportunity in that hard work somewhere, and that you have a roadmap to where that's going to lead you. It might not be for everybody. The rat race might not be for everybody, but it's also definitely for some people. And if it is for you, then touche, you found your goal and you know how to get to that goal. Kudos. For those who are looking for something other than the rat race, just understand that just because you're currently in the rat race does not mean you have to stay in the rat race. You can use the rat race as a form or a means to exit the rat race if you so choose to. But understand that when you're in the rat race, you're still gonna have to conform to the norms of it. You're gonna have to work just as hard, or if not harder than everyone else, to be able to exit it. And that's my take on the rat race. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it certainly can be a bad thing if you are trapped in the mentality that that's all you can do and you are not happy. So I think that will be my takeaway from this episode.
All right. I myself leaving with more questions than answers. But
As always. Well, I think that wraps things up unless you got something to add.
nah.
Well, folks, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, we hope y'all enjoyed the conversation. Drew, I'm going to catch you later, bro. Peace
My
out.
mans. All right, bro.